the July 9th, 2025 meeting of the Elementary School Building Committee. This meeting is being recorded both on Teams and for Stoughton Media Access for, I believe, future broadcasts, not live broadcasts. I'm not sure about that, but broadcast nonetheless. This meeting is being held remotely under the governor's executive order of 2020, which was extended. First order of business would be calling the roll. When hearing your name, if you can audibly indicate that you're here. Dr. Baeta.
Aye.
Joseph Buckley.
Yep.
Friend Brittany is away, so I doubt she's here. Tom Coulter, Steve Cavey, Jillian DeStefano, I saw was here.
Here.
Yeah. Diane Dolan has another meeting. Jake Dorr. I know Jake was here. Oh, sorry. Leo Fay. Sandra Gropey. Craig Horsfall. Lynn Jarden. Lynn is away. I think she was going to try to log in. No, I think she's away, but she was going to try to log in. Melissa Lynch.
Here.
Julie Miller.
Here.
Thought I saw. Yeah.
Here.
Katie Monahan.
Here.
Anne Marie Raymond. Tito, great. TJ Recupero is here. Dennis Rigo.
Here.
Mark Tisdale. Joel Wolk.
Here.
And Pat Yanikowski. All right. Well, Pat chimes in and someone can know.
We just gained a couple. Lynn and Pat.
We can put that in the minutes. Okay. Oh, great. Lynn Jarden, you're here?
Yes, I am here.
Great. And Pat Yanikowski?
I am here.
Great. Excellent. If you see anybody else, Eric, just give me a heads up so I can read it into the record.
Yep.
Read that into the record. So first order of business is public comments. If anybody from the public has a comment or question they wish to address to the school building committee, this is the point of the meeting where we welcome that. Nothing that we can vote on or discuss substantively under the open meeting law at this meeting, but it might be something that at a future meeting we might put on an agenda, and we welcome all input, of course. Is there anybody who wishes to ask a question or make comments? Oh, if so, just put a button at the top of your screen. It's a hand that says raise. Seeing no one.
TJ,
Lori,
I do. Lori, I do.
No, I think there is.
Oh, Lori
Yeah.
Jakes.
Hi. Thank you. I'm Lori Jakes from 6 Harris Circle. I have 2 points that I want to bring up today. I've had multiple people ask me about the possibility of making one of the fields at this new elementary school a turf field. My assistant's father builds schools, so I know that this is not a cheap cost. I know we're talking about close to $1 million, but as we look at opportunities to engage the community, this could be an option to do that. My life revolves around soccer, so I spend a lot of time at soccer fields, and I can tell you that Stoughton Town Soccer would love to have this as a backup. Their fields are awful when it rains, and as a result, they cancel games. I'm sure the lacrosse league in town, and even though I know they use the high school, I expect that they are practicing around the high school sports. So I'm sure that they would find this as an opportunity. But I would also say my daughter, who plays town soccer, or who plays club soccer, also practices at least at 4 different schools. So I think this definitely has the ability to be a revenue generator as well, because there are so many soccer clubs, and I'm sure the same for lacrosse and other sports too, that would find value in having this and would pay to be able to use these fields. So I know, especially now as we have some cost savings with not having to have to build a bridge, I hope you would consider this moving forward. And then secondly, I'm respectfully requesting that you update the project website. It hasn't been updated since the vote passed, which is almost 3 months ago. When you look at it, there's no meeting minutes since June of 2024. The committee, which has grown, that hasn't been updated. I mean, there's a lot of things if you look at that site, and there's been a lot of exciting things that have happened since that vote. Town meeting has voted on, putting $1.5 million towards this project. We now have Fano Drive. So like this is stuff, and don't have to build a bridge. This is stuff that we should be pushing out to the community so they know what is happening with the project. And, the reality is we still have another school to build in this town. So it may not be for 13 years down the road, but as a person who advocated for this school, I would ask that we make it easier for the person who advocates for that school, and we do a good job with this project by getting the information out there and being transparent, making sure that people know what is going on. There are people who want to know what's happening. They're not like me, who comes to these meetings, who figures out how to get the information. So I just think that this is an opportunity for us to do better. So thank you for letting me speak and for listening.
Great. Lori, if you haven't left yet, if you can stick around for another 1, 2, 3, 4 agenda items, as I really don't have anything or much to update on that, but I suspect we can give you an answer on the turf field, and why I suspect Courtney will tell you that would be difficult for us to do, but I'll let her speak to that. If you can just wait around, if you have to go, fine, but I think we can give you an update on that part of it tonight if you want to stick around. There is an obstacle, I know, on that. So I don't want to speak for Courtney, but
you know what, I have
anybody
to
else
leave
wish to-
because I have an appointment, so I'll just catch the
Okay.
snack show. Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else have a public comment or question? Great, moving on. Acceptance of the minutes of June 11th, 2025. Eric sent those out. Has everybody had an opportunity to review those? Does anybody have any changes or comments? I'll be honest, I haven't reviewed those just yet, but I'm scrolling through them right now, and they look good to me. Anybody have any questions, comments? If not, is there a motion to approve? Oh, Pat, did you have a question?
Yes, sorry, I raised my hand late. There are various and sundry acronyms in all the minutes. But sort of dovetailing.
Point. That's a great point.
Sort of dovetailing on what Lori said. If someone goes to read the minutes and they're like, huh? What is that? Could we spell those out each time?
Yeah, I'll answer that, Pat. I can do that for you. The reason I've had the habit of doing the acronyms is just because it's a little difficult to type them out in the real time, but I can go back and change them. That's not a problem.
Oh, thank you, Eric.
No worries.
Yeah, that's an issue I've had before in the past, where I have to look it up. So that's a good point, Pat. Any other comments on the minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve?
TJ, it's Melissa. My only comment is,
Melissa, sure.
I actually am ready to move forward with the moving to approve them. However, I just want to know when we might see answers to the 2 open questions that I had regarding the list of potential committees, and also when we may have a working SharePoint site, which I think dovetails a little bit into what Lori was trying to say. So I don't see that in these minutes. I don't know where that update is going to come from, and I just don't want to lose sight of it in this and everything else that's going on, that's still outstanding.
No, we didn't. Brian sent me a list of committees to present to the committee, and we were going to discuss that. And it was on me to get back to him and put that together to send out to to the full committee. The only committees that have been officially appointed right now have been the financial subcommittee, which of course we'll hear from shortly, and the CM screening committee, which we'll also hear from this evening. The other ones haven't done anything yet, except I think the technology and security committee will be meeting next week. And I did have one person, Diane Dolan, who asked to be part of that. So if anybody else wishes to be part of that, and I'll send out the list that Brian sent to me tomorrow. I'll do that.
Okay.
Was I right about that? Is there a security and technology subcommittee meeting next week?
We have one scheduled for the
Eric O'Brien?
22nd, I believe.
I knew it was coming up.
Yeah, July 22nd is the working group meeting on technology
Okay.
and security.
Okay. Thanks, Courtney.
First.
Joe, go ahead. I'm sorry, you
Me?
broke up. I think it's my computer, Joe. Go ahead.
Yeah, so one of the biggest issues I've had with new projects is the issue of technology, and specifically around the issue of instructional technology. So having folks who know the technology in terms of the wiring of the building is very different from the knowledge of what needs to happen in a classroom. And I don't see that subcommittee having anybody who really knows what happens in a classroom in terms of instructional technology. So I'm just putting that out there. It's an issue that I've ran into in 2 projects where we end up having to come back and make some changes. So if we're talking about technology and we're talking about instructional technology and what a classroom actually needs, and I'll give you a perfect example. A project I was in, they decided at the committee level that for every classroom, one wireless connectivity was enough. Well, the following Christmas, we found out that everybody got 30 different gifts, and kids would bring them all to school, and we had kids in the hallway having to connect to wireless connectivity. So we had to go back for $400,000 worth of connectivity in a building, just as an example.
So I guess our hope for the technology and security discussion on the 22nd is all tied with AV, access control, cameras, technology. When we talk about, we haven't set up the meeting for the core classrooms, but that's where we hope to discuss that space, in its entirety. The technology, the instructional technology, I think we have, for example, acoustic support in terms of augmentation right now, just in the project. We want to talk about those sort of things, as well as the casework and everything else in the space. So that's when we really want those people involved. And that meeting hasn't been set up yet because we want to make sure we have the availability to have the right people there, because we're dealing with summer schedules right now too.
So through you, TJ, to Courtney, thank you.
And
You're in and out, TJ.
I'm not sure what happened to TJ, but did somebody move to accept the minutes of the last meeting? Because if not, I'll move to accept them.
Not
No,
yet.
but I also didn't get an answer on the SharePoint piece either. So, but that's,
I'll second.
Sorry. Yeah, I'll let the minutes go first, and we can talk to Melissa. Joel, you want to make the motion? And was that Lynn who was seconding?
Yeah, I'd second it, but including the comments from Pat and as well as Melissa adding to the minutes, if we could.
Yes, absolutely.
I agree with you on that.
Okay.
I want to address Melissa's comment when we have a second, but I don't know if you're voting on these minutes.
I think we are. Mr. Buckley, I guess you're going to have to take the helm here.
Yeah, I think we need a roll call, I guess. Oh, here's
Yes.
TJ coming back.
We seem to have lost TJ.
Yeah, I don't have a roll in front of me. Hang on.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, TJ.
Oh, yep.
I'm happy to do the roll call by calling out names.
TJ, you with us?
Can you hear me now?
In and out.
All right, well, I don't know if you can hear enough of me. Maybe Joe, can you take over?
Sure.
No sense for me to chair if,
Joe, I have the running list. Joe Buckley, I have the
Okay.
running list of who's in attendance if you want me to just call it out on your behalf.
That would be great. We have a motion and a second. So Dr. Byett, if you could read the roll.
Sure, TJ, Joe
yes,
Buckley,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Jillian,
Yes.
Jake?
Yep.
Katie,
Yep.
Lynn,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
and Joe Byetta votes aye as well. It's unanimous with those present.
Thank you. And just to circle back on to answer all those questions, Melissa, we will put a SharePoint together. That's something that I have been meaning to work on with my office. The last couple weeks have been a little tight with the CM selection process, but that's something we can do.
Okay. We'll just put it in the minutes for next month to follow up on it.
Will do. Yeah, it's in there currently, and I noted Pat's comment, and I noted your other comment about the other task force subcommittee type messages.
all right, maybe we can, I think I'm back. Maybe we can connect on that tomorrow. If you're,
Yeah, or are you available Friday? If not tomorrow
or
afternoon.
between now and Friday, maybe.
Yep. Yeah, we can
Okay.
do that.
Yeah, I was only going to comment on Melissa, you're right, and that's my bad. I wanted to get our group together to make that happen, so we'll do that this week.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, Joe B. Buckley, it looks like TJ's frozen again.
Just frozen again?
Yeah.
Okay, then. That would be, that's
Invoices.
acceptance of the item number 3. Let's go to item number 4, June invoice package. I hope you've all seen it. Eric did send it around. I don't know, Eric, can you kind of
Yeah,
give
I
us
can.
the highlights?
Absolutely. In fact, let me share it. Just trying to load it back up here myself. Okay, here we go. Can everyone see my screen right now?
Yes.
Great. Okay. I'll start with the invoices here. So at Vertex, we have technically 4 invoices. The first is for the underbillings from the feasibility schematic design phase. That's the first invoice you see, invoice 11931 for $178,044. Invoice number 2 is for June services for $46,625. Invoice, I should say that was invoice 119-32. Also reimbursable cost that was for the Project Dog advertisement for the for the CM advertisement. And then a cost estimate update, the site cost estimate that we had PN&C do. The last invoice there for DRA is $314,730.18 for design development services in the month of June. And I can walk you guys through the backup for these. I won't get too into it unless everyone wants to see, but these were reviewed by the Finance Subcommittee on July 3rd. Does anybody have any questions about the invoices?
Eric, I think you ought to talk a little bit more about the 119-31 for $178,044. That might be a little confusing to people.
Sure. In fact, Tim might be a little better at explaining that.
That's the I think I explained it at a prior meeting, but that's the
I believe you
recoup.
did, yeah.
Yep, by our contractor and feasibility when the town had appropriated kind of insufficient funds for sort of anyway, that's the recoup payment for the difference between that we have in our contract from feasibility once the project passed, that we are entitled to kind of make up from the discount we gave back in 2 or 3 years ago, whatever that was. That's in the contract.
Okay, Mr. Buckley,
Yes, sir.
if I could have your permission to make a motion, please?
Go for it.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Oh,
My
sorry.
hand
Yeah,
is raised.
Melissa's hand is up. Go ahead,
Yep.
Melissa.
I apologize, Joel. I just wanted to ask, so the feasibility study amended budget, when are those final? When are all of those invoices final? Because I thought in prior months, we've heard they're kind of wrapped up and tied up. It's been a while since that feasibility piece. When are we going to see that, I guess, stop coming into this process, or are there still pending items that we need to keep an eye on?
There isn't any that recoup payment, Melissa, that I just mentioned. That actually is being applied to design development. That wasn't in the feasibility. That's in the current appropriation. But I don't think we have any more thing coming on feasibility because the DRA payment that is being applied to feasibility was approved last month, wasn't it, Eric?
That's
Yes,
correct.
it was.
So that 40.
Right, and that's why I'm asking the question is when is this feasibility study amended budget incorporation? This is kind of like the final period done. We don't see those rolling forward. Is that what we won't be seeing those?
You won't, yeah, this isn't even that, but yes, those are all done from last month.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Can I try again?
You may try again, Mr. Wolk.
Thank you. On July 3rd, the financial working group, which consisted of myself, Anne Marie, and Fran, met, and we went over all of these invoices in detail. At the end of our review, we were satisfied that these invoices were in accordance with the contract requirements of the individual companies and were reasonable for the amount of work that was actually done. So in that regard, I would like to make a motion that the Elementary School Building Committee recommend payment of the following invoices: Vertex 119-31 for $178,044. Vertex 119-32, which consists of 3 parts, adding up to $50,799.50. And DRA invoice number 17 for $314,730.18. The total of all of them is $543,573.68. I haven't done that one for a while. Okay.
Okay,
I'll
we have a
second.
motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it. It's
Is
Lynn.
that Lynn?
Yep.
Thank you, Lynn. So we have a motion and a second.
Joe B, you want Joe B to do the roll call?
Yes, please.
TJ,
Yes.
Joe Buckley,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Jillian,
Yes.
Jake. Jake. Katie,
Yep.
Lynn,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
and I vote yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of 12 with one no vote. One didn't answer, but was present. So it passes.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
I think I have my issues.
TJ, you back?
worked- Yeah, I think I have my issues worked out, but let me know if I freeze up again. Item 5, CM procurement update. Maybe Brian
Yep,
who
sure.
wants to do this. Yeah.
Yep. So the RFQs have been received from 8 CMs, 8 firms, and the scorecards from the pre-qual committee are all in. And we have a meeting tomorrow at 3 with the pre-qual committee to shortlist the CMs. And once that is finalized, the RFP will be going out on Monday to the selected, depending on what the committee final count between, I would say between 3 and 5 would be somewhere depending on the scorecards and the numbers and the committee and how close they are. And so the RFPs will be going out Monday and the proposals will be due August 6th. And at that time, we will have interviews the following week with the selected pre-qualified CMs, and then hopefully the committee will make a recommendation or update the full committee sometime in the 3rd week in August is the timeline right now.
I actually have a question for the interviews. Will those be live or are we going to make those virtual too?
My
had a-
preference, but TJ can
Yeah.
answer.
I had a related question, Joel. Go ahead, Brian. So,
Oh, I think they should be in person. Definitely be in person. I don't know what we did with Tim at the high school, but I think they should be in person.
Well, they were definitely in person at the high school, and my opinion is that they should be in person. That's the only way you're going to get to know the people that we're really talking to.
That's correct. This is not the best communication tool.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I would say they
and
will
to
be in
my-
person.
to my related question, so for committee interviews, depending on how many we have, I mean, you said between 3 and 5. If there are 4, I would assume that's a 2-meeting. That's going to span over 2 meetings. As a subcommittee, given I think the answer is definitely no. But Joel, do you remember how much we gave to each candidate for the high
I
school?
knew exactly what we did. We
thought it was like
basically
30
gave each
minutes.
candidate 1 hour, and I think Brian will corroborate, is in agreement on this, and also Tim. We gave everybody an hour. They gave a presentation, introductions, presentations, so on and so on. And then we asked all of the people who were presenting, all of the companies, the same 5 questions so that we could compare the answers between the 3 companies. And then we opened it up to questions from anybody in the building committee who wanted to ask a question about whatever they felt was it necessary. Typically, the whole thing took about 45 minutes, and that left 15 minutes to get everybody out and get the new company in. Now, if we start at 6 o'clock, the first one would be at 6, the second would be at 7, the third would be at 8. And then at 9 o'clock, assuming there are just only 3, and I'm not saying there will be, we can start deliberations and probably conclude on the same night. That's how we did it in the high school.
Yeah, that would be, I remember we did one of them, maybe it was OPM that we spanned over 2 nights.
It might have been
If
the
I-
OPM because, we had lots of doubts about Vertex and whether they should be the OPM. And we were arguing and God knows what we were talking about. So that might have been it.
Is that why they
I'd
changed
rather-
their name?
That's why they changed it.
So, and another question, Brian. So given your schedule, do you see that as a special meeting night for that purpose? Or can we fit that into our current meeting track? It seems like we'd be off schedule for So for interviews, we'd be like late August.
Right now, we have proposals due on August 6th, and then hopefully interviews August 11th. And I think we do have a building committee in that week.
And we'd have
Yes,
other
about the
business.
committee, but I think we have business for the building committee.
Yeah, we'd
Yeah,
have other
Independent
business.
of this,
yeah.
and this is going to be 4 hours, and you know, we can adjust the schedule to start at 5 or something, but I think that this should be its own thing. And
Yeah.
if it's 4 people or less, I would recommend a single night, just because everybody hears they're fresh. They can, when you do over 2 nights, and if you do them over 2 nights, they almost have to be really consecutive, because otherwise the memory begins to change, and frankly, the people in the second night get a much better advantage, because it's fresher in people's mind. So
agree. Yeah.
I would say my own recommendation, but the committee needs to decide all this, including the format and everything, when they meet. But I would say that you want to do it as a dedicated meeting in one night, unless for some reason there's more than 4 people.
Yeah, so maybe we interview that week, and then maybe we postpone the building committee to the following week potentially. But we can talk about this tomorrow. But this, that's a good question.
Yeah, whichever you want. I just wanted to flag it for the building committee so that everybody's aware. We're probably going to have 2 meetings at least in August.
Yes.
One
Yes.
for regular business and one for CM.
I agree.
So,
Yeah.
All right. Questions. Joe Buckley and Joe Baeta both have their hands up. Joe Buckley.
Yeah. Do we have a list of folks that have responded to the CM?
Yeah, I can send that out. Or I can send it out, but it's I can try to remember off my head, but it's Consigli, Bond, DOC, let's see, Suffolk, Commodore, Gilbane,
W.T. Rich.
Lee
And
Kennedy,
W.T.
Lee
Rich.
Kennedy.
and W.T.
Lee
Rich.
Kennedy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
those are
8,
the-
right?
Those are the 8. Yeah.
It's a nice list.
Good list.
So we got the
Very good,
scorecards
thank
in
you.
now. We're consolidating all of the pre-qual teams' scores into a master spreadsheet, and that's what we're going to review tomorrow.
So everybody keep an eye on their meeting schedules in August, I guess. All right. Anything else on CM? Joe Baeta, you had a question or a comment?
Oop, you're muted, Joe.
I'm going to bring up the same question I brought up before. Are we suggesting that we're going to have a full 22-member building committee interview X number of prospective bidders? Because I think that's nuts. I think that's nuts, folks. I've never seen of a building committee that's 22 people. That's number one, but this is Stoughton. And number 2, I don't know, how does that scorecard look at the end of it with 22 people?
Well, the scorecard is just for the pre-qual committee. So I think the full committee would just be listening and possibly asking questions at the end. But the scorecard is with the 6 people in the committee, and that's going to be the final for the final 3 to 5. That's what I understand.
So you're going to need are you therefore going to need a quorum of the full committee for that presentation?
I think that Joe brings up, personally, I think Joe Baeta is bringing up some really important points. I mean, I know that we did that in Stoughton 6 or 7 years ago. We don't do that anymore. There are logistical issues with that whole thing that I think the committee should really consider tomorrow, the subcommittee, because that isn't how, I know that was what we did 7 or 8, whatever that was now, it's quite a while ago, but that isn't how really the statute's set up. The subcommittee makes the decision. I think it was done because of a general feeling like, and that we wanted to be inclusive and have everyone's opinion heard, but it does create issues because we will need a quorum and that's 11 people at least. And really, from a management standpoint, it probably means that the subcommittee of the active questioners and participants, and the other committee just hears. And then in the deliberation part is when the subcommittee can take the thoughts and opinions of the committee if they want. But it is a it's kind of a laborious process and might make it very difficult to get to a decision efficiently. But that's, again, I understand that was Stoughton's tradition.
I might also add to that, you need a location, the current room with 22 school board building committee members, plus a set of presenters is too small. You're going to have to change your location. I mean, at least to make it feasible, you'll need to change your location to a different location within the town or the library or something, because that room is already packed when we're there. And now we're adding 3 to 5 more people coming in for a presentation in the space.
Yeah.
That room's not capable of that.
One possible compromise, if I may, is have the subcommittee as a posted meeting, because it is a public meeting. We generally ask, if it's recorded, we don't put the recording out until after the interviews, but it is available. But we also don't ask that, we ask that the other competitors not attend as a courtesy the interviews of their competitors, which they always agree not to do. And then, but it is a public meeting, so members of the committee who actually want to participate, or who want to witness it, prior to it being sort of let out on the cable later on, certainly could attend as a matter of the public if they felt they wanted to.
I'm just going to bring up a public or open meeting law. I don't think we can control SMAC at deciding if it's live or recorded.
Well, that's separate. I mean, I'm just saying, typically we've done that. If that's the case, that's not the end of the world. Especially if we have them every night, they're not going to see the interview of the person 2 hours before, but I don't know what, that's up to
Get it.
talking to SMAC. Yeah.
Whatever the decision is fine with me.
But I mean, and you don't have to put it, I mean, I'm saying where we've had in the past where the committee, we're similar to Stoughton, where the local cable station has basically broadcast meetings, public meetings, they have generally posted that, they broadcast that the day after, so, or whatever, after the decision's been made. But that's just the way most communities have acted. But I think that's another way to do this, that would those that really want to attend and hear it live could, and the committee certainly could open a public comment and say, I'll receive comments from the public and, like react to that. If that's how I just would offer that as kind of a compromise. So that gets rid of the logistical problems and.
Well, wait a minute, I'm not sure what you're talking about here, Tim. Are you suggesting that the full committee not convene to vote on who should be the CM at risk?
I'm suggesting, Joel, that that the way the statute's set up and the way we do it in pretty much everywhere, but what we did in the high school is the committee didn't make the decision, the full committee. It was a decision by the subcommittee. Some places say some towns have the subcommittee bring it to the full committee for ratification, at the decision. Others don't. Others present it as a fait accompli, and that was because they've been elected to make this. I mean, they've been appointed to make this decision, this important decision. And yeah, the full committee doesn't have to vote on it. Doesn't vote on it. I mean, we do that.
I don't really have a problem with that. But the subcommittee or the working group that we're using now, I think I'm the only community member on that group, and I don't think that's going to work very well. I think if you want to have a working group or subcommittee to do the interviews, you should have at least more community members. That's my own opinion. At the minimum, it should be the chairman and vice chairman should be included.
Well, that's a decision for the committee to make.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying the statute actually says it's a 4-person. Stoughton has a bigger subcommittee than for CM selection than what the statute requires.
Just my own 2 cents.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm familiar with the statute. Yeah.
So my own 2 cents. The building committee doesn't choose the designer technically, and we do have some input, of course. We choose the OPM, and I just don't, CM is such a critical position over the next 3 years. I would like to be, other than just a passive participant in the crowd viewing, I would love to be able to vote on that myself. I won't speak for the entire committee. I don't know how everybody else feels, but I feel very uncomfortable if someone came back with not that I don't trust everybody on the CM committee. I do, and I know that you'll come back with someone who I'll like for sure, but I well, especially hearing the list of the 8 finalists that, so I don't have a problem with look, we had a dozen people on the high school building committee, and I think it was 3 Joel candidates, and we were able to, with a rigid procedure, we were able to flesh through those pretty quickly. We had, as you said, we had the 5 set questions, and then we went around the room if anybody had any questions, and many people didn't. And for my own part, I remember I think I asked 2, maybe we limit the question from committee members, but I remember I had the same 2 questions for each one of the finalists. I don't remember what they were, but I remember I was trying to be consistent, so I wasn't asking different questions to different people. But, how does everybody else feel on that? Do you want to, well, how about more comment from other people? I think we can do it. If there's 3, 5 might be tough if it were the high end of that, but if the committee is weeding out from 8 to 5, that's we should probably send the committee back and ask them to redo it so we can get a smaller number. But
it's pretty unlikely that it'll be more than 4. As a matter of fact, my guess would probably be 3.
I don't want to hold anything up for sure, but I would, for my own part, I would certainly have questions, and I would certainly like to vote on it. I don't know how everybody else feels. And I think we can do it in one night.
I don't have a problem with having the subcommittee do the primary interviewing and asking the questions, and then bringing it back to a full committee for ratification. I agree with Dr. Baeta. I do believe 22 people is a very unwieldy committee. Decisions don't get made very easily. And I would find it hard pressed to know that the subcommittee wouldn't present 3 or 4 valid reputable candidates.
So what you're saying, Joe, is they bring 3 candidates, and then the full committee listen to a presentation and vote. Is that what you're saying?
The subcommittee comes with a recommendation for an award, brings it to the full committee for a ratification.
With one finalist, is that
correct? Correct.
Well, what we have to do in accordance with the way it's supposed to work is we have to provide, let's say there were 3, we have to rank them, and that's what we would provide.
1, 2, 3.
Right.
I don't, personally, I don't.
Okay.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I agree with that idea of having the subcommittee present, but I also like the idea of if you were from the full committee and not on the
you with us, Lynn?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're breaking up.
Oh, sorry. I'd like to still be able to I like the idea of being part of the audience if I'm not on the subcommittee, just to kind of see the overall, not necessarily to ask questions or anything, but just to see the overall presentations.
Well, my personal opinion is that you can do it that way, but there are some people that my opinion, really need to participate in the interviews. The 2 that come to mind, Dennis will be there, but I think that Dr. Baeta should participate, and I think that Julie Miller will need to participate, because those people from the school department, those 3, will have the most contact with the construction manager.
Yeah.
And they have to be satisfied that this is what they want. That's my opinion.
No, I agree.
It's a great point. Yeah.
I mean, I
you
can't
could-
imagine selecting a CM for the high school without Julie Miller being there.
I mean, you could always, the committee could, I can't see what there would be a problem with adding, for instance, Principal Miller as, since she will live with them during the construction. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, add, just voting here to add her to the committee. And she won't, at this point, the committee has met and will have a quorum to make a decision tomorrow on the short list, but that she would then participate fully in the interviews.
That's fine with me if that's what the will of the committee is. And for the high school building committee, for the life of me, I've been like sitting here scratching my head. For the CM interviews, I thought it was just that subcommittee
No.
at the high
it
school
was the whole
building. I don't
board.
remember the full committee being there for the CM interviews.
Yes, we did, ma'am. We
They
sat
did
in
it
your old library.
I remember
Yeah.
being in the old library. I just don't remember all those people there. Maybe they were behind me and I just didn't see them.
Well, when you fell
did,
asleep, we didn't want to wake you up, so.
All right,
Well,
so
how about
where do we
this?
stand on this?
The subgroup is meeting tomorrow afternoon at 3. One of the things that we can do as a group is we can make recommendations as to which members of the committee we feel would be appropriate to join us as part of the interviews. Could we do that?
Yes, yep, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
That's fine by
that
me.
committee is a public, it's a, it's a public body now for like open meeting reasons. So I would say if you're gonna do that, vote them onto the committee, that's all. But I think,
We can do that tomorrow, yeah.
yeah,
No, I understand, sure, that's no problem. We can do that, and Julie has already said that she wanted to be part of this. Dr. Bayetta, do you want to join us on this too as an interviewer?
Yes.
Okay, so there's 2. Eric, you got
I
those?
absolutely, without a doubt, I absolutely do. I have questions right now in my mind, so.
Mr. Recupero? How about you, Mr. Buckley?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, so that's
What about
4 added
the
on.
principals? What about the principals of the school? Jake and or Katie? Because they'll be dealing with them probably more than Julie and or Joe.
I'm not sure about that, my friend.
Julie?
I will,
Yeah,
I will
I'm happy-
gladly,
I'm happy with
I
that.
can do whatever. I can be on the
Yeah.
committee. I don't have to be on the committee.
Yeah,
I think Julie dealt with Consigli more than anybody on the high school project, so.
100%.
Oh, she was a
Yeah.
goddess to them, honest to God.
All right, well,
So I'll
whatever
just
the committee comes back with, if you could just report back by email to the full committee. So that it is public, so we can all attend, but whoever's gonna be involved in the interview process, we'll leave it to the working group, to the CM group.
Okay, I have a question for Eric and Brian. When you go out with the RFP, do you list the members of the interviewing committee?
Not at this point, I don't think.
Okay. Some do, some don't. We've done it before. We haven't done it, so it's up to you.
Sometimes they'll ask me.
we
they'll tell
we
some-
will be asked by the shortlisted people, because that's how, they're trying to,
Yeah.
they're trying to understand their audience, so we probably
right.
would want to list it finally.
So I think as part of the RFP, we're going to say, these are the people that will be interviewing. Or doing the interviews.
Katie, do you have your hand raised?
I do. I just had a really quick question since we've been talking about, who's on the committee and who's going to be or maybe not be. Could someone just list the people who are on it? Because I'm kind of, I just think that might be helpful.
Yeah. Brian, Courtney, Joel,
Dennis,
Dennis,
Craig, and Fran.
right?
And technically Carl, I'm standing in for Carl right now, so
We
be
don't
part.
talk to him anymore. He left us, he went to Alaska, the hell with him.
Just for my minutes here, I wrote down the members that we were going to recommend adding tomorrow. I have Julie, Joe Baeta, TJ, Joe Buckley, Jake, and Katie. Is that correct?
I
Yes.
have missed, okay.
Great. Anybody else on CM procurement? All right, great. Item 6, site design update. It really isn't a heck of a lot to update on this, but Courtney, the thing that I mentioned earlier when Lori asked about the possibility of a turf field, I expect that that's an impervious surface that we probably can't do, right?
Well, I want to share, I have a couple things that I was kind of thinking about after she asked that question. One of them is the impervious surface question. Another is the fact that we have geothermal under here. And I'm not saying it's not doable, but we may have to increase our well depth because a turf field requires a whole big deep drainage layer underneath it to account for that turf field. So that's something else that we got to think about. And, we would have to talk to our geothermal consultants about that. The other thing is, just in general, when we're considering turf fields, especially turf fields in a wooded area, you have leaf debris, you have potential animal, droppings and things like that. That is a maintenance issue for turf fields a little bit more so than, mowing your standard lawn area. The other things to consider too are temperatures on turf fields. They're a lot higher. I think at the high school, we have water out there. I think and Julie, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we added the capability to have sprinkler devices out there to cool down the temperatures of those turf fields on, during the warmer temperatures or times of the year. So that's something else that has to be considered with cost more so than, it's not that it's not feasible, it's just there are added costs with that, along with, bedrock considerations too. You're digging down for that drainage layer. There may be some more bedrock that we would have to remove in order to accommodate that versus a turf field. So, I think it's, those are always great resources for communities, but you just got to weigh the pros and cons of having a natural turf field versus a synthetic.
But I think TJ is correct though, Courtney, that it is an impermeable surface. I think that's considered that.
Yeah, we would have to check the law and like the statute on that for MIPA triggers, but that would be a huge surface area that we wouldn't be able to afford to add to the project if it's considered impervious.
How much wiggle room do we have on impervious surface? I know we probably wouldn't have that calculated yet, but
I don't
do you
have the
any sense?
numbers. Yeah, I don't have them in front of me, but I don't think it was a whole turf field
Yeah, I
area.
wouldn't think so either. So
Yeah, it was extremely close to the threshold.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, I wouldn't think so. So just for people watching and listening who have questions, and particularly Lori, who had the question. So things like pavement, roofs, a building roof, things that are impervious, those are, I forget the threshold, but we have a certain threshold over which if we exceed, we open up a whole new permitting requirement through Mass Environmental Protection Act, MIPA, which would probably extend our project and our costs. Our project probably a good year, I would think, or 6 months, I would think would be, because it's just the ENF, but it's still probably at least another 6 months. And the cost involved in that, just the permitting portion of it. Anybody disagree with how I just characterized it?
But TJ, I don't know this. I don't know all. Maybe Courtney, you do. But MIPA does have a horizon so that the town can add it at some point in the future. I just don't know what that is. Those years where it's no longer in the calculation.
It's three years.
Yeah.
After which, if unless they determine that that we're gaming the system and it's a segmented project where we just delayed 3 years so that we would be outside that window, and then they have what's called fail-safe jurisdiction where they'll call us in anyway.
Okay,
but-
so I mean, if we don't include it in the project, we're not segmenting it, but obviously the town can make a decision down the road.
Right.
We're not
Yeah, well, we
precluding
would
the
just-
decision.
Yeah, if that is something that we wanted to account for a future decision, we would just have to coordinate that again with the geothermal component tied to it, because it changes your well depths and how we work in that drainage layer there.
Can we at least keep it on our radar?
Can I,
You know-
can I say something here?
Sure, Joe.
We had such a struggle with this project over cost through the voting process. From my perspective, the cost was the biggest drawback from voters for this project. Anything we do to add to this project at this juncture needs to benefit the project specifically. And I agree the town can use more playing fields, soccer fields, whatever, but this is a school project and we need to get a school built. And we had enough controversy over cost that by adding this significant scope and a significant cost, it will certainly create some pushback. To Tim's point, we can take it under advisement and the town can consider it and perhaps do it as a future project. If there's support.
That's all I meant, Joe, is that, we can tuck it in the back of our minds and at some future date. So that we're at least considering what people from the community, like Lori in this case, asked, but I don't think it's going to be something that we could do anyway, but it's a fair point on cost. Anybody else on just the general update site design, Courtney, if you had anything else, but really we're working out the legal components of what's going to be needed for town meeting and MSBA approval. And that's been sort of in the works in the background right now. But and actually one other thing, Courtney, sorry if you had anything else, but I did want to say for anybody listening at home that I had 2 people that reached out and asked if there was a survey crew. I don't think there would be a survey crew, Courtney, yet, but would be a wetlands crew.
Yes.
A wetlands flagging crew.
Yeah, that's what we noted here, just so folks were aware and we could share it with the community. There is a wetlands verification crew out there on the Line Lumber site, as well as some of the adjacent parcels. So they may be accessing the site off of Park Street. There will be a survey crew coming and following them later this summer. And so wetlands verification will probably go on this week and into next week. And after that, survey crews will be out there. Geotechnical test pits and borings started, in late June and started working into early July. They should be done with the additional geotech work that we needed as part of the project. And they're basically looking at the building areas, our stormwater areas, making sure that our subsoils are appropriate for both of those. And then the geothermal test well is something that's going to be happening in the future too. We're hoping to target that in July or August to get that done. So there'll be another crew out there then.
Great. Any questions from anyone? I had one other point, but if anybody has any other questions. So this came up in the working group discussion from either earlier this week or last week, is that one of the things that's going to be required, we suspect, Joe Baeta, we talked about this, is that the school committee needs to vote on taking out the 8-acre parcel that is being swapped for Fano Drive and other parcels, and the school committee needs a formal vote on that. So in order to get that moving, I asked Dr. Baeta if he thought a letter from this committee requesting that such a vote take place would be prudent. And Joe, if I can characterize your answer, is that would be helpful?
That is correct.
Great. So why don't I ask for that in the form of a motion so that we can do things properly? So the request would be, it doesn't show the swap parcel on this plan, but there it is. So the green parcel, which is being used, a portion of it, which is being used with the South School, and all of it may or may not, I'm not even sure, and be classified as school land, it needs a vote to take it out of the school department inventory because they have exclusive control under the statute. So also needs a town meeting vote. But to get things started, the school committee needs to vote to take that green portion out of the inventory of school property. And so we will request the school committee to take such a vote, and the vote of this committee would be to, I guess, authorize it. I don't care who writes it, whether it be Vertex or request the school committee to take a formal vote that the 8-acre parcel of the 15-acre master parcel be taken out of school property inventory to be part of it's not really a land swap, but a land swap in order to acquire Fano Drive and the adjacent parcels. That was a mouthful, but is there a motion can I ask for a motion to authorize a request of the school committee to that extent? And I'll clarify it if that muddled mess that came out of my mouth didn't make any sense.
I'll make the motion.
Great, thank you, Joel. Is there
I'll
a
second.
second on that, Joe Buckley? Just to get the process, someone needs to get the process started to get these votes, and it might as well be us because it's on our radar more than anyone else's. Any other questions or comments on that component? And then if there are any other questions or comments on site update, generally we can return to those. If not, if I can run through the roll quickly. Dr. Baeta,
Aye.
Joe Buckley,
Yep.
Fran Brunetti, Tom Coulter, Steve Cavey, Jillian DeStefano,
Yes.
Diane Dolan is not here. Jake Dorr, Leo Fay, Sandra Gropey,
Yep.
Craig Horsfall. Was that you, Jake? I thought I heard Jake chime in. Lynn Jordan,
Yes.
I said yeah.
Melissa Lynch,
Yes.
Julie Miller,
Yes.
Katie Monahan,
Yes.
Anne Marie Raymond was here. TJ Recupero votes yes. Dennis Rigo,
Yes.
Mark Tisdale, Joel Wolk,
Yes.
and Pat Yanikowski.
Yes.
So, Joe, Dr. Baeta, Joe, we'll send the letter through you to the school committee, and if you want, I'll be happy to show up and explain if you want. But I assume that you can explain it better than I can. So, whatever your schedule is, I can be there if you want, if you need, or
TJ,
whatever.
what's a good timeline for the school building committee to get a vote from the school committee?
Well, so it really depends on when so it's in October, I want to say 11th or 12th town meeting is being targeted. So I assume the warrant is going to be set sometime in September, which really puts this into August when we would need a school committee vote. And does the school committee have counsel also?
Yes.
Is it too much to ask them to just make sure that we're doing everything properly, taking school property out of school inventory? So I can ask Brian Winter if he can advise also, but if you want your council to do it, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this particular case, it'd be town council only because our council is predominantly
Sure.
labor.
Sure. So I think what's required, Joe, you may have more insight on this, but a school committee vote and then a formal town meeting vote approving the school committee, approving taking the land out of school property inventory.
Yeah.
And then we have 2 articles for the sale and the acceptance of land. So should be at least 3 articles total. Great. I'll get the request out with Eric and Brian and Tim over the next day or so, but August is probably when we need something like that. Cool. All right, anything else on site design?
Looks like a question from Melissa.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry, Melissa. I didn't see the hand.
No, I just have a quick question. So just from and I don't want to take this sideways, but conflict of interest, is there any issues from like school committee perspective on voting as a building committee? I just want to make sure that it's flushed out. And if there's any impacted parties who may be party to any of these switches, making sure that it's all done as should be. Just throwing it out there as a question.
Yeah, no, it's a fair question.
That it doesn't come back and bite us.
So I know the one potential, I'm speaking out of turn and I don't want to speak for anyone, but I know the one potential conflict is aware of it and I think mentioned it to me, but others too, but I don't think there's any direct financial benefit. I know there isn't, but so
okay. I just wanted to make sure that an abstention wasn't necessary and we had enough votes. We had enough votes without that even being a part of it. That's all.
Sure. Anybody else on site design? If not, we can move to building design updates. Courtney?
Sorry, I was muted. So on building design, we haven't really made any significant design changes to the building. What we are doing right now is we're going through several user group meetings right now, which you can see on this timeline, which we'll do throughout the end of the DD phase so that we can get any appropriate changes regarding the scope, whether it's casework, and Dr. Bayeda noted in the instructional technology here in meetings that we're going to want that input for those spaces in the upcoming meetings as well. And then we've also noted the working group meeting that we discussed previously for the technology security. And then whatever comes out of that working group meeting for security, we are going to want to bring that to the building committee and get votes on certain scope items. So right now we're currently targeting August 13th, but I know we're working in the CM vote as well. So we want to make sure that, that date could change. And if it does, we'll keep everybody posted on it. But the preliminary one will be the working group meeting, and then we'll take that information up to everybody in the executive session. But this is just kind of an overall picture where what we're doing in DD, who we're talking to. And some of these are just revisiting previous discussions and confirming scope. And other ones are making, small adjustments or refining, like, for example, like the art room spaces, the nurses spaces, we had discussions on those today. So we're refining those spaces within the building. So that is our current update for what our team is working on right now.
Anybody have any questions on that? I have one. Sorry. This might be for Jake and Katie more than anyone else. I don't know if this is a common thing. I'm looking at August and I see core classroom collaboration, common spaces, lockers and cubbies. And I forget where I saw it too, was phone lockers. You guys have those, or is there a use for those? Or I'm just curious. This isn't a point for
You said phone lockers,
phone
TJ?
lockers. Kids
Yeah,
lock
we
up
don't-
their phones and that's
Yeah,
all they
we-
lock up.
Yeah, no, honestly, we don't have anything like that right now in the schools, and I don't know that there would be a need for that at the elementary level, but I certainly, I'm curious to see what Jake feels. I don't think we need them, but
Courtney, do you see those elsewhere?
We haven't been putting them in elementary schools. I can check with some of our other teams, but I haven't seen them in elementary schools in our current experience yet.
TJ, just as an FYI, the state Senate has passed this week abolishing cell phones in schools. It's now going back to the House. It's a very controversial topic because we don't know how we're going to police this. But just to let you know, there is a move because of recent Harvard medical school studies around the use of the cell phones and et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think we would be looking at that expenditure for an elementary school.
Yeah. I'm just curious. I didn't know what it was because it was like a small bank of locked up spaces and I just asked the question, what the hell this is about 6 months ago. I have to remember where I saw it now. So thanks for that. All right, Vertex update. Does anybody else, actually, let me back up. Does anybody else have questions on building design? If not, we'll move to Vertex update.
Tim, I think you're
Yeah,
muted.
I'm sorry, the main thing we wanted to do was to get a vote, TJ. We have to submit our staff to the MSBA as well.
Oh, right.
And
right.
they want approval of our staff. And so we've never actually gotten our staff approved as Eric and Brian and I as the team. So if that was, we would vote, I'm the principal in charge. Brian is the project executive and Eric is the project manager. If we could get a vote on that, I would appreciate that.
Sure. So that would be a motion to approve and submit to MSBA the Vertex team of Tim Bonfatti, Eric Rubin, Brian Kelly. Does someone have a motion to that respect?
So moved by Adam.
Great. You can pull the second and the motion, Eric. There were about 3 people who, like Joel moved it, and I think it was Joe Baeta seconded.
Sure.
Thank
Great.
you.
And I'll run through the list. Dr. Baeta,
Aye.
Joe Buckley,
Aye.
Fran Brutinitti, Tom Coulter, Steve Cavey, Jillian DeStefano,
Aye.
Diane Dolan, Jake Dorr.
Yep.
Leo Fay, Sandra Gropey, Craig Horsfall, Lynn Jarden,
Aye.
Melissa Lynch,
Aye.
Juliet Mueller,
Yep.
Katie Monahan,
Yep.
Anne Marie Raymond, TJ Recupero votes yes, Dennis Rigo,
Yes.
Mark Tisdale, Joel Wolk,
Aye.
and Pat Yanikowski.
Yes.
Great.
And the only other,
New bit.
yeah, the only
Go
other
ahead, sorry.
one other item of business I would, as I was typing out the email to our team that works on the client portal that Melissa's talking about, the SharePoint site, it occurred to me that it would be helpful to have a small group work with us on what actually gets posted to that. That's not a public portal. That's actually for the building committee to have access to, or whoever gets invited, and it's protected. So if we could get maybe Melissa would be one since it was her idea, but some help, just because there's decisions that need to be made about, how much we want to put up there. there's things that are in draft form that may be more confusing, depends. And the same thing actually applies. I think we would use that same group to talk about what actually gets put on the public website, the building committee website. So, and we don't need to actually do that right now, but we're talking about the task forces and membership of those task forces. That's another task force that like a communications task force would be helpful.
I would
Great.
suggest Jeffrey Pickett be considered for that. He's a non-voting member, but he really oversees some of that stuff for
And
us.
Jeffrey is already involved with us on the website. Yep.
Jeff, did you
That might
want
be
to chime
happy to
in?
be part of it.
Oh,
Oh,
Was that
no,
Melissa?
Dr. Bayetta said what I was going to say. I just wanted to offer my assistance to that.
Yeah, that would be
yeah,
great.
I spoke over someone else. Was it Melissa who I spoke over?
Yeah, I just said I'd be
Apologies.
happy to help with others. That's fine.
Great.
I'd be happy to help.
That would be perfect, actually.
Awesome. So, and we'll add that to the list of task groups. New business. That was new business. Anything else for new business? Joel?
Yeah, I actually just have a question. I've noticed that in past meetings or documents that I've seen, that the solar panel arrays are not going to be part of this project and maybe put on a later date. Now, I understand some of the reasons behind that, but current legislation that just passed federally phases out any rebates or anything for solar energy. So I'm wondering if we should take a look at that now, and if we have to be able to at least purchase these items before those credits disappear. Is that something we could talk about?
Yeah.
Have you heard anything, Tim, from your end?
Yeah,
or-
I mean the new bill that passed on Friday, as I understand it, if we're in construction by 2027, which we will be,
Okay.
we're entitled to the rebates, the IRA rebates that are around geothermal that were big and that we're looking at. The solar and wind ones, I believe it's the same rules, but I'm not sure. So I agree with you, Joel. I think the plan always was to hopefully, our goal is to kind of accrue enough savings that the committee can vote to add the PV in. It's not right now in the budget, but our goal would be to try to do that. So that's something I think we should talk more about at the working group, about how we can plan for it and then have it as an alternate or whatever we decide to do.
Okay, I think that's something we ought to take a look at, because right now we could probably have our MEP guy do an analysis that shows what the payback is with the credits. And if we don't get the credits, it still might be good, but the payback time might be much longer. We don't know.
Right. I think that's right.
Point.
We get state credits though too still. So
Yeah, no, I think there's still those mass save credits and stuff, but there is some other IRA money that's still involved in that. So
Well, I'd be careful about the mass save credits, because apparently homeowner utility bills are really getting very high, and a portion of that is due to some of the mass save stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of those credits started to disappear over the next year or two. So, okay, that's the only thing I had, TJ.
TJ,
Thanks.
just real quick, and just a quick announcement from the school department that the Wilkins Elementary School did receive the electrification grant for $2.7 million.
Oh, good.
So when the south is opening and the transfer is happening, we should be able to be on time to also shut down the Jones while opening up the Wilkins with a brand new HVAC system.
Good. Excellent.
wow. Great. Anything, Joel, you want to put that on the agenda? It's going to be a working group discussion. You want to put it on the agenda for next meeting also?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Well, I think it doesn't have to be the next meeting, but it should, in the next 2 or 3 months, we should do something.
All right, so flag that, Eric, and we'll, some
Yep.
upcoming agenda, when we have some time, we'll put it on again, so.
Actually, the only reason I might want to wait, TJ, is when we get the CM on board, we might want to discuss this with them and see what their experiences have been. So we can get their input before we do a vote.
I'd be curious to see how most schools procure those, whether they do them through PPAs or whether they own them.
They're kind of all over the map
Are they?
now. And we've had a lot of experience. We can offer more to that when we.
Yeah, we
get
just
to that.
finished Westwood Elementary School, Pine Hills, which they purchased it themselves through the project, like 1.5 million, say, but others lease it or rent it, or they just, they give the solar panels their roof to use, so.
Yeah, we purchased it for the high school project. But I know there were some problems getting it operating, and I don't know how well it's working, so.
Well, PPA, we wouldn't get the state credits anyway, so it might be a wash that way, so. Anyway.
All right, we can talk about this
flag
later. I
that
just
for
wanted to,
future. Yeah.
it's a future item.
All right, cool. Any other new business? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All right, I'm gonna run down the list. Dr. Baeta,
Aye.
Joseph Buckley,
Yep.
Fran Brutinetti, Tom Coulter, Steve Cavey, Jillian DeStefano,
Aye.
Diane Dolan, Jake Dorr, Leo Fay, Sandra Gropey, Craig Horsfall, Lynn Jarden,
Aye.
Melissa Lynch,
Aye.
Julie Miller,
Aye.
Katie Monahan,
Aye.
Anne Marie Raymond, TJ Recupero votes yes, Dennis Rego,
Aye.
Mark Tisdale, Joel Wolk,
Aye.
and Pat Yanikowski.
Yes.
Right.
I'm gonna get
Thank
some
you
ice
all.
cream. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
See
you.
you all in August.
Thank you.